Hello DJ family, Phil here in the Digital DJ Tips studio for another Thursday Q&A live. Just getting my cameras nice and focused here. We have got an hour of helping you guys and girls out with all your DJing challenges or questions you have. You saw speakers on the intro there. That's because we've been reviewing the Pioneer speakers this week, the ones that you can see there. Indeed, I've just finished the filmed version of the review that accompanies the written version that we put on the Digital DJ Tips website this week, this one. We've been talking speakers this week, so if you've got any questions about speakers, now is a good time to ask them while we've got them in the studio and on our minds, quite literally. But it could be anything. You could want to chat about music, could want to chat about live streaming, about promoting yourself, whatever it is. Every week we just go live for an hour to talk DJing with our community, whether you're on Facebook, hello over there on Facebook, hello to all our Twitch users, to our YouTube followers, to people on Mixcloud Live. We are basically doing this because we like to help, and we like to, on a Thursday, just kick back and chat DJing for an hour. So if you don't know who we are, we're Digital DJ Tips, the biggest online DJ school, also the people behind this book here, Rock the Dance Floor, which is the #1 selling book on how to DJ on Amazon. And I'm Phil Morse. I founded the company, and this is a bit of my week I really look forward to because I get to chat to you for an hour. Yeah, that's it. That's what this is all about. Let's say a few early hellos, and then we'll get stuck into some questions. So hi to GM and to Modish Mark and to Housemaster Jay and to Driver John and Loris and DJ Nigel all over there. In fact, DJ Nigel's on Twitch, but the rest of you are on YouTube, on Facebook. Hi to Chris, to Paul, and to Sean, to Michael and Greg. We're getting very busy already, which is good. To Mark in Trinidad, to Vic. Good afternoon, fellow tipsters. Tipsters, I quite like that. To Dr. Karen. Hi, Dr. Karen. To Steph and Tony. To Facebook, someone on Facebook who's locked down in Alberta, Canada. To Paul, who's actually got our first question, so that's cool. Let's get started with our first question, which is from Paul on Facebook. So Paul says, hi Phil, I have an Impulse 500, which is the Hercules controller. I want to play my iPhone through it using the aux, but how do I get to play it through the controller? So you want to play your iPhone through your Impulse 500 using the aux. So to start with, I'm just going to have a check on whether the Impulse 500, how it works, because the way DJ controllers work with auxiliary inputs depends upon the controller. So I'm just having a quick look at your Impulse 500 now on another window. Let's have a look at the back of it to remind myself of what's going on in the back of your unit. So you do have an auxiliary in, that's cool. It won't play through the software. There's no way you can get that auxiliary in to play through Serato, which is the software that comes with it. All it's going to do is come out of the output of that unit. So if you've got speakers plugged into the master output or the booth output, that's great. You'll be able to hear that auxiliary input through those. But if, for instance, if you hit record in Serato, you wouldn't be able to record the auxiliary input. That's just the way it is, and that's pretty normal for controllers, Paul. So there's no problem getting that audio to come out of the speakers, but if you want it to be recorded in Serato, that becomes more difficult because you then have to record the output coming out of the controllers RCAs or the controllers TRS outputs, audio outputs. So if there's more to that query than I've kind of guessed, then do let us know, Paul, but hopefully that helps you. Hi to Christopher in Malta, been to Malta, interviewed Pete Tong in Malta a couple of years ago at the IMS College event. Jerome says, is it necessary to exchange my SDJ60X and SDJ80X? I've got two stereo sets of speakers. So you're talking about to exchange them because these have just been released. These new Pioneer VM speakers to replace the SDJs. No, it's not worth replacing them at all. Your speakers are still wonderful. They've got slight differences and slight changes. They've got DSPs around the back. That's what these buttons are here, which let you tweak them a bit more than the old SDJs. But no reason at all to change them. You know, speakers are speakers, basically. They haven't changed an awful lot over the years. They tend to wear out. That's the only thing. And then over 10 years, a speaker might sound a little bit worse than it did when it was brand new, which is why you hear of club systems being reconed. And reconing is when they take the cone out, put a new one in and leave everything else there. But no, speakers are not something that you need to replace regularly in order to stay up with what's going on in the speaker world, because really not much changes there. So the next question is from John, who says, "Hi Phil, happy Thursday. Can you mix anywhere? E.g. intro, outro, drop, or, are there rules to that?" It's a very good question, John, and it's one that we could talk about for weeks, really. Basically, you need to play enough of a song. Unless it's just not working, you need to play enough of it. So if it's a song, you need to play at least one verse and one chorus. If it's more a track, you need to play one verse, one actual part of the track that isn't just the intro, followed by a breakdown, a build up and a drop before you mix out of it, as a general rule. But in our courses over in Digital DJ Lab, we talk about this a lot. And we've actually got a big new article going live. It should have gone live today, but I'm the one who's got to approve it and give the final rubber stamp. And I haven't had time today, so it will be going live tomorrow. And it's called "How DJs Know What to Play Next." This article is going to be really useful for you if you are, struggling with how much of a track should I play, and then when I've done that, what do I play after that track? It's the big question of DJs, isn't it? We can teach you all the technical stuff. We can teach you how gear works and how to use the equipment. But at the end of the day, the big thing is, how do you know what to play next? That's the question that's never really fully answered. And that's why DJing is such a compelling thing to do, because we never get to the bottom of that. We're only as good as our last mix. And actually, even though this isn't published yet, because I've got access to it, I can show you this article. This is going to be going live tomorrow. How DJs always know what song to play next without ever panicking. It's a big, long article based upon some teaching that we do here at Digital DJ Tips that covers an awful lot of what we've just talked about. So this is it's going to be a great thing for you to look at. There's a handout that goes with it to help you as well. This should really improve your DJing way past just knowing what your gear does or knowing a couple of transitions. This is the stuff that separates the rookie DJs from the real pros, because the rookie DJs will pick something that mixes well next. The real pros will pick the right song to play next, and then we'll figure out a way to mix it. And that's what this article is about, based on, as I say, some of our training. So this is going to go live on the website tomorrow. So have a look on Digital DJ Tips tomorrow for this article. It's called "How DJs Know What to Play Next Without Panicking." So next question. "Thank you so much for Rock the Dance Floor," says Riri. It really did guide me onto the road of DJing, especially how to collect song parts and how to collect songs part, the music part and the promotion part. So thank you. Well, you're very welcome. Look, you don't have to buy this book, people, by the way. This book is the kind of Bible on how to do this stuff. We've sold thousands and thousands of copies of this since it launched a couple of years ago. But you don't have to buy it. You can get it for free from us if you go there. So if you're not already a member of Digital DJ Tips, go to djtips.co/join. And when you do that, we will send you a link to a PDF version of this book that you can download, you can print off, you can do what you want with. It's yours to do what you want with. And also, actually, this book is on the main website now. It's something that we did recently. We added the book to the main website. So you go to Digital DJ Tips and you head across to the book here. Click on the book, and you'll find in here the whole book. And this is the whole book, including all the videos and stuff that we had with the book. They're all embedded in here, so you can read all the chapters. It's exactly as you find it in the book here. And as I say, all the videos that the book references are all embedded here as well. So there's lots of places to read Rock the Dance Floor. But thank you very much for your kind comments there about the book, Riri. So the next question is from Benedict, who says, "Hi Phil, I hope you're well. On the subject of speakers, how far should my monitor speakers be away from the wall to prevent the bass becoming too boomy? How far away should my speakers be from the wall to prevent the bass becoming too boomy?" It's a really good question, and I'll tell you why it's a good question, because it depends on the monitor speakers. So let's look overhead at these two speakers that I've got here, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's look at the back of the speaker. So these are rear ported speakers. So what do we mean by rear ported speakers? We mean they've got a hole in the back, and this hole goes right into the middle of the speaker. if anyone ever seen the Flash Gordon movie, I mean, I'm showing my age here, where there's that bit where they have to put their whole fists into holes, and in one of the holes there's a creature that bites you and kills you. Do you remember that? Anyway, that's what this is reminding me of here. But I do digress. These are called bass ported speakers, and the reason they have this is that when the bass cone is pumping away, doof, 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 it moves a lot of air. That's why bass, you can feel bass in your tummy, because it's moving a lot of air in the room. That moves a lot of air inside the speaker as well. And the bass cone on the back, the bass port on the back, allows the air to move in and out of the speaker, and it gives you better bass. If you put your hand over here, you'll feel it. You'll feel the bass. But it does mean that if you've got rear ported speakers, you have to put them so that they're not against a wall like this. If they're against a wall, you've got a wall here, then it's going to stop this working properly. So it depends upon how your speakers are constructed, how that works. If your speakers are constructed with the bass port on the rear, you need to be a little bit away from the wall. Some of them have the bass port down the bottom here, in which case it's not so important. The bottom line is, Benedict, that you should listen to them, position them in different places and listen to them, and figure out what works best for speakers in your room, because they're going to be different in everyone's room. But that's the general principle behind it. If they're rear ported, move them away from the wall a little bit. So the next question is from Loris, who says, when you're live streaming and I see you reading all the comments on another device, how do you do that so that you see all the comments? How do I do that? It's quite easy to show you how I do that, and I will actually explain it to you. So I can't actually show you, but I can definitely explain it. So we use a piece of broadcast software. So a lot of people use OBS to do live streams of broadcast. We actually use some software called Ecamm Live. And Ecamm Live, what I'm looking at here now is a big computer screen with my camera above it. There's my camera. Hello. Now I'm looking at the screen. And this screen has got a comment box, and the comment box has got all your comments as they come in. And they're coming in from YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and Mixcloud and so on, all into one window. And if I want to put a comment on the screen, like yours there, Loris, I just click on it and it appears on the screen. And then I can click on it again to take it off the screen. So I see all the comments coming in as a stream, and then I choose which ones I want to talk about, which questions I want to talk about. So that's how it works. And that's also how I can switch different scenes, like you see me switching to those cameras over there and stuff. There's buttons to do that. So that's how we do it. So good news for Mark, who's been hired to play at a small birthday party. Ladies only next Saturday, so enjoy that one, Mark. Driver John, will the sound be affected if you tidy your cables by taping the audio cables to the power supply cables on your speakers? Try it. If it doesn't hum or buzz, then no, it won't. It might hum and buzz. The thing is, the audio cables are carrying a very low voltage. The audio cables coming from the back of your mixer or the back of your controller to your speakers are carrying a very low voltage of electricity. The power cables have got, the full voltage in them, and they've got an electromagnetic field generated by that amount of electricity that could affect the signal in your audio cables. Now, I'm sure audio purists would say keep those cables apart from each other. In truth, try it, and if it doesn't buzz or hum or sound worse, then you're good. Digital Nation, any thought on the iLoud MTMs? I'm looking at buying some new small monitors. They're brilliant. They're really good. I use them in my holiday home. I've got a pair there for when I do live streams. They do distort if you turn them up too loud because they're only small, but they sound really, really good for the money. They're an excellent speaker, so no problem with those, Driver John. Thank you for your kindness, Big Marlow. Yes, we're very well here. So let's pull another question off then. Thank you for asking speaker questions. You're very obedient today, asking questions about what I ask. But honestly, you can ask them about anything you want. Let's pull this question up from Jason, who says, I've just started using OBS Studio, which is for live streaming. I've just done a 5-minute live stream on YouTube, but the stream was freezing or buffering. How do I sort out the live stream video part for doing live streams? Any advice? Okay, so the short answer is you need to make sure your computer is not overloaded by running a live stream, or your phone if you're using a phone app. And you need to make sure that your bandwidth, your upload speed is enough to handle what you're trying to do. My advice to you would be lower the resolution, So if you're broadcasting at 1080 by 720 or 1920 by 1080, which are big resolutions, cut it down. Cut it down to 480 or even 360, which will mean that one, your phone, if you're using your phone to live stream from, or your laptop or whatever, will be doing far less work. And two, you'll need far less upwards bandwidth for it to work. If you cut down your resolution to 480 or 360, you close everything else down on your device. And you make sure you're very close to your Wi-Fi, or you've got an Ethernet connection, or you've checked that you've got decent up speed. You should find that it then works fine. And once you've got it working fine, you can start pushing those things up again, pushing the resolution up again, maybe using a second camera or whatever. And it's going to be your computer or your device not being able to handle what you're asking it to do, or your upload speed, for sure. So reduce those two things, and the best way to reduce those things is just to reduce the resolution of your image, because that will fix both problems. It will ask less of your computer or your mobile device, and it will ask less of your up connection to the internet. So that's what I would do to test that one. That's the short answer. God, Phil, if that's the short answer, what's the long answer? The long answer is very simple. Get the course, because we've got a course which will teach you how to do this stuff. Just head over to the Digital DJ Tips website, scroll down to Essential Courses, and find the Live Streaming Made Easy course. Live streaming for DJs is a new thing. It's an important thing, but it's also quite a complicated thing. So we've got a whole course here which will explain to you exactly how to do it, whether you want to use your phone, your laptop, whether you want to use external DSLR cameras and build your own studio. It's all covered in the Live Streaming Made Easy course. So go grab a copy of the course if you want to get serious about this. And the good thing about being in there is you get us in there as well, so we can help with all your technical queries and questions in a way that we can't do, obviously, on shows like this, because we've got to move on. So yeah, have a look at DJ Live Streaming Made Easy. Hello to Hitcham in New York. No doubt it's very cold there. Paul has just come back about this thing with using auxiliary inputs on a controller. He says, what channel does it come out of? It doesn't come out of any channel. It just goes straight to the output port. So the auxiliary input on a DJ controller normally has one control, a volume control, right? Which will let you turn the volume up or down on the auxiliary. And that's it. And that will just feed it into the output, where it will mix it with everything else you're doing on the controller. And that's it. You get very rudimentary control there over your auxiliary. So really, Paul, try it. You'll see. It's very basic. Godzilla says, I got myself the DDJ 400 and I'm smashing through your complete DJ course, which is awesome. I just learned to use the pads to key the Sweet Dreams track. My wife is well impressed. We do this thing where we take the Eurythmic Sweet Dreams riff and we put it on the pads, and we show you how to chop it up and stuff in the training. So I'm glad you're enjoying your course, and I'm glad you're enjoying your DDJ 400. And I'm glad your wife's impressed, because I'm sure she's happy that you've spent the money now, right, Paul? Right, Godzilla? Right, more questions. Craig, we really are getting some speaker questions here. Any tips on active PA speakers for mobile DJs today? 800 to 1000 with a bass bin or subs. So the beginner system that we always recommend is the LD Dave system. It's this one here I'm about to show you on the internet. They've got a few systems, but this one here is a pretty good one. You can get it with stands as well. It's a good starter system, really. So this is the speakers on a stand there, for instance. Although I wouldn't recommend you use a stand like that. I'd recommend you either buy two of the woofers, or you buy a normal tripod stand for one speaker and a single pole stand for the other one to go with your subwoofer, your bass speaker there. LD Dave is the one we always recommend to people. The reason we recommend it is we've got it and it works, and they're good value for money. So I'm sure other people have got recommendations as well for an entry-level PA system there. So if you have, head over to our, I'm just seeing where you asked the questions. Craig asked the question on YouTube. So head over to our YouTube channel and answer Craig over there. That would be cool. And if you do so quickly, I'll be able to put your comments on the screen as well. So the next question is from Craig, who says, what kind of DJ interface do I need for a Pioneer DDJ SB2 for live streaming. You don't need a DJ interface. You just need to, assuming your live streaming software, like OBS or whatever, is on the same computer that you're using your DJ software on, you just need to link the DJ software into your live streaming software. And the best way to do that is with what's called an audio aggregator app. And the best one to go for, because it's free and it works on all Mac and PC, is called VB Cable. So head over to this website here, vb-audio.com, and grab this little app for either Mac or Windows, download it, and what this will do is make your DJ controller software, so if you're using Serato, it'll make Serato. If you're using Rekordbox, it'll make Rekordbox. If you're using Virtual DJ, it'll make Virtual DJ, available as an input, as an audio input to, for instance, OBS or whatever broadcast software you're using. And that means that without having to buy a DJ audio interface, a separate audio interface, you'll be able to broadcast the clean, clear sound from the master output of your DJ controller to your audience without buying any extra hardware. So you just need a little app, and as I say, a good one to start with is VB Audio. The one we use is called Loopback, and Loopback is for Mac only. It's something I wouldn't be without, but you do pay for Loopback. It's just it's very good. You can have lots of things set up on it, which are, you know, for instance, I have setups on here for all the big DJ softwares, and I can just switch between them very easily. And it's you can see here we've got routing between all kinds of things. It's basically like the ability to route audio from anywhere to anywhere inside your DJ software. But you don't need to buy software like this. VB Audio, I'm just trying to go back to it there to show you. VB Audio's VB cable software will do it just fine for you. And with that bit of software, you don't have to buy any extra hardware to get great sound on your live streams. Jose, can I use Rekordbox with a rotary mixer? Yes, if you use it in DVS mode, you can. You can use any mixer with it. So yeah, it works with any mixer as long as you use DVS. The next question I want to pull up is from Mixmaster Shane. I've got problems with iTunes. My library won't read anywhere, which causes me to be manually building my library outside of iTunes. The XML keeps disappearing. Look, you've got to really understand what iTunes is doing in order to use it successfully with DJ software. iTunes, or now it's called Music. You know, it's changed a lot. You have to enable the use of XML outside of your iTunes or Music app. But now, DJ software interfaces with it using an API. It doesn't use the XML anymore. Unless you're pretty technical and you understand this stuff, my advice to all DJs is don't use iTunes or Music anymore as your app of choice. Just have your music in one big folder and organize your music in your DJ software because it's just less hassle that way. Now, Mixmaster Shane, if you're a Digital DJ Tips student, head over to Student Hub and ask the question over there, and we'll help you more over there with it. But basically, the advice I can give you quickly in public is if you're having problems and you don't really understand what iTunes is doing, where it's keeping your music, why the XML disappears and this, it might be time to just get out of it. Unless you've got a good reason for staying in that ecosystem, I think it's going to get more problematic over time. You know, when we started doing this 10 years ago, all DJs used iTunes to organize their music. Now it's less than half. So it is on its way out. Okay, hi to my friend Mixmaster G. We were talking about you on Tuesday, Mixmaster G, talking about your DJ conversion utility on our Tuesday Tips Live, or was it on our inside track for our Digital DJ Lab students? Can't remember. Anyway, we were giving you some props there. That new article looks amazing, says Christopher. This is the article we've got about how DJs know what to play next if you've just joined us, which is not even live on the website yet, but it will be pretty soon. It's this article here. Let's show it to you. Here we go. How DJs know what to play next without ever panicking. This is actually going live tomorrow on the website, but I gave you a sneak preview of it earlier. So look out for this. It's got a worksheet with it as well, which is really cool because it lets you come up with a plan to help yourself to move from kind of panicking about what to play next to having a really good idea. So that is tomorrow. Pressed the wrong button there. Yeah, that's coming soon. Mr. Dave C bought your copy of Rock the Dance Floor last week, and it's brilliant. Well, thank you for buying it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. What we found is a lot of people will read the book online, then they'll get the PDF, and then they'll go and buy it. It's a bit like, you know, streaming your favorite music and then ending up going and buying the vinyl of it because you love it so much. So thank you if you're one of the people who've done that. Please do not copy and paste your questions more than once. I will not answer them if I see you doing that, people. It just confuses me and my team. We will get to your question if we can live, and if we can't, we'll get to your question afterwards. Daryl, Phil, I can't afford the super OEMs. These are turntables that Daryl is talking about, pretty good turntables. I'm not a scratch DJ. Do you know a good enough turntable that are good enough? An Audio-Technica is okay. The Audio-Technica ones that you've talked about there are the best of the ones you mentioned, Daryl. So yeah, go for those. The next question is from Driver John, who's just saying, thank you for your explanation about rear ports on speakers. Every day is a school day. Cool. Good. We're glad to help you. Steph, is it best to invest in the VM50s if it will be used for music production aside from DJing? So this is the smaller versions of these speakers that we were talking about here. There's the overhead look. There's the side look, totally out of focus side look. I wanted to give you that look there. There they are. Hello, you see? People think our studio is massive, but actually it's tiny. Look, there's my hand there, and here's me here. Two hands, you see that? So that's these speakers here, the smaller version of these ones that you were talking about. Is it good to invest in them if you want to use them for music production and for DJing? I would say it is, just because those controls on the back give you the flat frequency response for music production, and they give you the peaks and troughs if you just want to crank them up into kind of club sounding speakers. We haven't reviewed the JBL 305, so I can't compare them to that. But yes, in answer to your question there is yes. Okay, we're halfway through. Unbelievable. I feel like I haven't taken a breath. Are we enjoying ourselves today, people? Wherever you are, hit the button that says you're enjoying it. The like, the thumbs up, even the share if you're feeling generous, please. It gives us the feedback that says you're enjoying what we're up to. My next question live then is from Lorenzo, who says, I'm considering buying a DDJ FLX6 as my first Pioneer controller. Considering I'm starting different pro-like projects, do you think it's worth it as a club-alike setup? Right, is the Pioneer DDJ FLX6 worth it for home use as a club-style controller? Yes and no. Yes, it's worth it because it's got big club-style jog wheels, and the mixer feels like a club mixer, so you're getting the feel of a club setup. No, you're not getting a lot of club features there. One of the big ones you don't get is like the balanced outputs, the extra inputs, so you can plug auxiliary stuff in, or you can plug backup sources in. It's a great controller if you want the feel of the club in your home. It's not a good controller to take out into a live environment and DJ from professionally, because it's lacking some of those things. And to be fair, it's not designed for doing that kind of thing. Now, you could play a perfectly great DJ set on any budget controller, of which I class the DDJ FLX6 as a budget controller, albeit a high-end budget controller. You could play a great DJ set in public on any of those, and most of the time you'll get away with it. But it hasn't got some of the features that you would want if you were doing that regularly. So yes, Lorenzo, if you want that club feel in your home, it's a good value controller. My next question is from Renix, who says, I can DJ vinyl, but I'm a first-time controller buyer. Do you recommend the DDJ 1000 or Traktor S4? Depends on what software you want to use, Renix. If you want to use Traktor, you've got to go for a Traktor controller. If you want to use Recordbox, which is Pioneer's software, you've got to go for the Pioneer controller. Decide what software you want to use first, and that will decide what controller to buy. Now, your next question is going to be, what software should I go for? And the answer to that question is always, it depends. Generally though, nowadays, for most DJs, I would recommend Recordbox over Traktor, seeing they're the two that you're looking at there. Recordbox is used in far more DJ gear nowadays. It's used by far more DJs nowadays. You can use it at home in your very first controllers, all the way up to DJing on pro club gear without changing your software. Traktor is a far more specialist platform nowadays. My next question is from I Am DJ Alibi, who says, I was in your Tuesday chat about speakers, and I have a question about speakers for playing out. I'm looking for a recommendation on a good set of speakers to invest in for gigs where the place doesn't have its own sound system. Something quality, but not the most expensive. Again, the LD Dave system is the one we recommend to people just because we've got one, it sounds good, it works, and it's a good entry level one to go for. There are others though, and I Am DJ Alibis over on Twitch, so you can help her out over there should you wish to do that. Lucky Pro, thank you very much for sharing your life with us in the comments on YouTube. Lucky Pro says, hi, I'm a singer, I'm very young, I'm only 10 years old. So thank you for that, but you haven't actually asked a question, but thank you for being with us. Probably the youngest person here with us today. So Mahmood says, Phil, I'm very used to mixing through harmonic mixing. Does mixed in key work? As a new DJ, it's difficult to gauge the energy level. Right, you're asking two questions here. Mixed in key is a piece of software that primarily tells you the key of your music. It works, it does that. You don't need it nowadays though, because all DJ software has got key mixing built in. Mixed in key also has the ability to judge the energy level of your music, and it does that by listening to how bright the music is, how the hi-hats are, how the mid-range is, and it kind of works out whether that is an energetic track or a more laid-back track, and it gives it a rating based on that. I personally do not like a piece of software telling me how energetic a track is. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've got my own ears, I can figure that out for myself. So I wouldn't rely on Mixed in Key or any other software to tell you that. I would use your ears for that, frankly. But certainly as software that can tell you the key of your music, yes, it can do that. Do you need it? No, because your DJ software can do that. Is it the best? Yes. It is the best software at telling you the key of your music. It can tell you things that other software, that your DJ software's built-in key detection can't, like when a track changes key, and it's got a lot of other features. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife of key detection. It's a great program, but nowadays you don't have to have that. So my next question is for, in fact, it's just Anthony who's helping with our subscriber who's got the issue with choppy video. Anthony says, check your broadband upload speed is capable of streaming at the video bitrate you set it to, and if not, reduce the bitrate. So yeah, good advice there. If it's freezing but not buffering, it could be your laptop struggling. So yeah, you're covering the same things that I was covering. Thank you very much for helping out there. We haven't tested those, Dwayne, so I can't help you on that, unfortunately. Nick says, hi Phil, should I sell my Technics 1210s and buy a Rain 1 controller? I've got very few actual records. I use DVS. How close is it to the real vinyl feel? It's an emotional thing selling your 1210s. I would say never sell them. Keep them for life, but that's just emotion speaking, not my heart. The Rain 1, yes, it's very, very close to a club feel. For those of you that don't know the Rain 1, it's a DJ controller with 7-inch platters on it, and they're motorized, so they actually spin, and it's very, very good. It looks like this. This is the Rain 1. It's a lovely controller. It's like, you know, Honey, I Shrunk the Rain gear. It's like a pair of Rain 12s and a Rain 70 mixer, but just shrunk down into a controller size thing. It's quite heavy, quite big. You certainly wouldn't, you know, carry it under your arm and gaily trot off to your gig. You know, you're going to want it in a trolley or in the back of your car. But yes, it's a lovely, lovely controller. Would I sell my Technics for it? I wouldn't sell my Technics for anything, and that's the truth. So I hope that helps you. So hello to Kevin in Scotland. I'm looking for a sampler. Which to go for, the DJ S1000 or the RMX 1000? I can't advise you there. Maybe someone else can on YouTube. I've not reviewed either of them for many, many, many years. Not even looked at them for many years. I would say look at the sampler that's built into your DJ software if you use DJ software before you spend money on anything. I finally got a question from our 10-year-old DJ Lucky Pro who says, should I get a Novation launch pad for Cubase? The launch pads, the little 16 by 16 button boxes are brilliant, and I always recommend them for production software. So yes, maybe you should. How do you plan the sound output for different spec events, says Carl. So you've been asked to play an event. You want to know how to plan how loud your PA should be. It's a great question. It's one that sound engineers and PA aficionados could talk to you about for hours. I'll give you the very, very simple version. Allow 5 watts of music power per person. And if your gig is outdoors, allow 10 watts of music power per person. So for instance, these speakers here that we have in the studio are 100 watts per speaker of output power. So that speaker there, that 100 watt speaker, not that you'd ever use these in a live environment because they're designed for studios and you'll probably get someone sticking their foot through there or something. But these speakers, that one would be good for 10 people. If you've got a pair of these, you could run it for 20 people. So again, don't use studio monitors in parties, but if you were to, they'd be good for about 20 people in a party. Outdoors, 10 people, because the sound just gets carried away on the wind and all that. So look at the speakers you've got and do that division to find very roughly what the wattage you need is for the particular number of people coming to the event. That is a very, very, very vague, not vague, but very general rule of thumb. And there's a lot of assumptions made there, but it's a good starting point. So I hope that helps, Carl. The next question is from Brian. So Brian's question is all about when you buy a subwoofer. So this is let's talk about this over here. When you buy a subwoofer, so Pioneer DJ will happily sell you a bass speaker or a subwoofer to go with these. They're those big square speakers that you see that you'd often buy one. And in the case of studio monitors, it might tuck underneath your desk and it gives you that bass thump in your stomach. It gives you that feel that you just can't get from a 6.5-inch tweeter, because it doesn't matter how good the speaker is, how much money you paid for it. This case is only a certain size, and so therefore the speaker can only move a certain amount of air. But a bass speaker with a big 15-inch cone in it can move a lot of air, and so you can feel it in your tummy, right? So a subwoofer is a third speaker to go with your 2 speakers that come with your that you buy normally to go with your left and right output. This is the left one, this is the right one. So the question is, if you buy a subwoofer, you've now got 3 speakers to plug in, but you've only got a left and right output from your DJ controller or your mixer. So how the hell are you meant to plug the third one in? So that was the question that was asked on one of our earlier live broadcasts. And the answer is you plug it in depending upon how the instruction manual that came with the subwoofer tells you to plug it in. Normally, you plug the output from your DJ system into the subwoofer, left and right, and then there'll be an output from the subwoofer that goes into your 2 other speakers. That's the normal way it happens, but it does depend on the system. However, there's now a nuance on this question. There's now an advance on this question that's coming from Brian, the person who asked it. Brian says, I know from our discussion yesterday that the proper way to connect my 1 sub speaker and my 2 speakers to my controller is to connect my controller to my sub and my sub to my speakers. Since my sub is mono, I assume that means the signal going to the speakers will now also be mono since it runs through the sub. Am I losing left and right because of that? And the answer is, Brian, you're not losing left and right because of that. It will run it through just as you put it in from the sub. The sub isn't ganging together the left and rights. It's pushing out the left to the left and the right to the right. So you're not losing any quality or anything there. As long as you've bought a sub that's designed to be wired up that way, it will work fine that way. Okay, next question. This is just from Blake giving us one of those, listen to this, and I love to share these because it just makes us all fired up. Blake says, I'm so dead, I did 3 hours straight of happy stroke UK hardcore last night on Twitch. It was a blast. I had my best viewership ever too, and I piped it into VR chat. So it sounds like you had a great time over there on Twitch. Well done from all of us, Blake. It's awesome to hear that. Should Know Better UK, love your name, says, do you think live streaming will still be relevant after lockdown eases? Absolutely. Live streaming is now part of how we do DJing and it's not going anywhere. So definitely, I do believe that would be the case. So Cesar has a dilemma. Cesar says, I own a Pioneer controller, a Reloop turntable, 2 CDJs, KRK Rocket monitors, a MacBook Pro, thousands of CDs and vinyls, but I have no DJ knowledge, skills, and 0 digital music files or MP3s. Which one is the best course to finally help me start in the DJing world? Well, you've got all the gear, but at the moment you're being very brave and admitting that right now you've got no idea and you want some help. What is the best course to help you? So very simply, the best course to help you is our complete DJ course. So head over to Digital DJ Tips and go to the DJ courses tab at the top, scroll down to our complete courses, jump in there and go to the complete DJ course. It's our best-selling DJ course. It's our flagship course, and this will teach you everything you need to know about music, gear, techniques, playing out, and then finally promoting yourself, to use the gear you've got, to find the right music, to be able to perform in public, and to be able to promote yourself once you can do that. It's based on everything in the book, but it takes it a lot further than what's in the book. So you've got a lot of videos in there that will help you bring to life what's in the book, but you also have help from the team and myself, which is the most important thing, really. You've got people there and you've got a community in there as well to help you along the way. So definitely, Cesar, the complete DJ course is the right one for you. Here's a funny story for you. My wife, Faye, works in Digital DJ Tips and has worked as our production assistant, production manager for many years now at Digital DJ Tips. Faye is the one who makes us actually do what we say we're going to do. So when we announce a course and it appears on time and everything's where it should be, Faye and her production team are the people who make that happen. So she wields the whip at Digital DJ Tips for sure. But here's the funny story is this. Her ex-boss, I got a DM from her ex-boss's husband the other day who said, Phil, I want to buy a DJ controller and a DJ course for my partner, my wife's ex-boss. Which one do I get? So I said, buy this controller and buy the complete DJ course, and forgot about it. And then a couple of weeks later, in the complete DJ course, there's a message from my wife's ex-boss saying, hey, hello, I'm new here. My husband bought me a course and I'm looking forward to getting started. So there you go. It's the course we always recommend to people who are getting started and who are serious about this, who've got the kit and who just want to learn it all as quickly as possible. So yes, definitely, Cesar, the complete DJ course is the one for you. Okay, one or two more questions then. I'm scrolling through now to get stuck into. What's your opinion on the sound box speakers, Phil? This comes from Douglas. So I've got a story to tell you here as well about these speakers. Let's first have a look at the sound box speakers. So sound box speakers are an interesting one. They're a wireless speaker, very much like, the JBL boom boxes and the Anchor speakers and the Bose sound links, and all those speakers that are Bluetooth and wireless and rechargeable and stuff. This is a speaker that has got all that tech in it. So it's Bluetooth, it's rechargeable, it plays for hours on its own without electricity. It can link to other speakers, so you can have 2 or 4 of them linked together, all synced up. But it is clearly designed for public use. It's designed for you to play parties on. They are absolutely brilliant. They're not cheap. They're like $900 each, I think. They're absolutely brilliant. They blow my mind. They go $999 each. We've got a pair of them, and we are reviewing them right now for Digital DJ Tips, and I will bring you a full review of them. The story is this. We are in lockdown here in Gibraltar. Now, we're not actually in lockdown at all because today, for the first time since this pandemic, started to show on our data, we've got 0 cases of COVID in our country. 0. Gibraltar's tiny. It's like 32,000 people. It's a city-state, a UK city-state. But our international border is with Spain, and Spain's cases, like a lot of the world, unfortunately, are slowly going up again at the moment. So we're in an effective lockdown because we can't cross the border. We can, but we can't go further than the province that's over there, because in Spain you can't move between provinces. It's all locked down. Unfortunately, Digital DJ Tips has got offices in several countries, and we've got an office in Spain, and that's where all our mail comes to. So we've got a pair of soundbox speakers over in our Spain studio that I can't go and collect to bring back here to write the review of, because I'm not allowed to go there. So they've been waiting there since Christmas, like 4 months now. So I'm really hoping to get over there soon and collect them and bring them back and write up our review. But I did do a couple of live streams from our studio over there when we were allowed to go over there in the winter. And they sounded amazing. They looked amazing. The connectivity is incredible. You can connect two of them together with their version of Bluetooth with no latency. So you plug your DJ gear into one and you connect to the other without a wire and there's no delay. That is pretty damn awesome. So in answer to your question, I think the Soundbox speakers are absolutely brilliant. If you just joined in the middle of this conversation, these are the speakers we're talking about at soundbox.com. But in order to tell you more about them, you're going to have to wait till we film the review of those speakers. Right. Let's pull some more questions up. More advice on budget speakers for people who want speakers to DJ out on. A couple of you asked that. Serwin Vega, 10, 12 or 15 CVEs. Fantastic sound and great prices, says Paul. So thank you very much for that. Mark says, rather than mount my top speakers on top of my subs, I usually place my two subs side by side below my table. Any comments? Bass is very forgiving, so no comments. If it works for you, keep doing it, Mark. Bass, you really don't know where bass is coming from because it gets everywhere instantly. Dagmar says, I've had issues starting up Serato recently. Everything's updated that I can think of. You might have a corrupted Serato library, database rather, sorry. Look on Serato's website for how to fix a corrupted database, and that will probably sort that out for you. Justin says, do you think iPads will replace laptops for DJing? No, I never think that will happen. DJing, says Mad Soldier Man, is like riding a bicycle. First, you need to learn how to ride, and then you need to practice to improve your skills. That's very true. There's a couple of things in DJing. One particularly that really is like riding a bicycle, and that is manual beat mixing. That is the ability to put two tracks on and get the beats at the same tempo, which I call beat matching, which I call tempo matching, and then line the beats up so that, you know, even though they're at the same tempo, they might not be lined up. The beats are also lined up, which I call beat matching. Once you've tempo matched a track to another track, and then you beat matched it to another track, then you can beat mix, which is the third bit of the trick. And beat mixing is knowing where to start it so that they sound great together. And once you can do those three things, you can manually beat mix, and that is one of the big skills of DJing. And that is definitely like riding a bicycle, because once you've learned to do that, you never forget it, and you can do it on any gear. But yes, you're quite right. DJing is like riding a bike, because once you learn it, it's always in your blood. You know, someone will say, I'm a DJ, even though they haven't DJed for 20 years, because the tunes are always in your head once you've done it once. So I totally agree with you there. Thank you, Mark, for appreciating our videos and tips. By the way, if you're asking questions here and I haven't got around to you, you know, as you can probably see on all the platforms, thank you for asking questions wherever you are, on Twitch, Mixcloud, YouTube, Facebook. As you can see, we get far too many questions for me to answer them all. My team will try and answer your questions afterwards. In the comments, but also just to let you know, if you've been on the fence about buying courses from Digital DJ Tips, there's three things that differentiate us from the competition, really. The first thing that differentiates us is that we're a very respected source of information. We've been around with the Digital DJ Tips website, reviews and stuff for over a decade now, so you know you're with the right people. The second thing is that the training is very high quality that we've got. It is, constantly updated. You won't find high quality training anywhere than you'll find from Digital DJ Tips. But the third thing is the community within Digital DJ Tips is unbelievable. It's something which we're very proud of, and we would say you won't find anywhere else. So when you buy any of our courses, and we're looking at the complete DJ course here, you don't only get access to the course, but you get access to the Digital DJ Tips community. And the Digital DJ Tips community runs in two places. One, it runs in your course. So within your course, you get to ask questions of the Digital DJ Tips tutors, which would be me or Steve or whoever the tutor is from your particular course. But you also get to ask questions in the Digital DJ Tips Student Hub. And Student Hub is our Facebook group, which is only for people who bought our courses. So I'll show you Student Hub now. Inside Student Hub, you You can get help from other students. You can share your wins. You can share your frustrations. You can ask about your course, but also you can ask the kind of long technical questions that people ask in these lives that we just don't get a chance to answer to the kind of degree that we'd like to on these live broadcasts. So you can see here, I'm just scrolling into Student Hub. You can see a lot of people here asking a lot of long questions that are getting long answers from the community. But you also get this, which is what I wanted to talk to you about. Every month, if you buy any course from Digital DJ Tips, every month you get invited to what we call Student Live. This was actually yesterday, our Student Live broadcast. So you can see you've got Steve Canuetto, who's the co-owner of Digital DJ Tips on the left here, and me on the right. We had 212 questions asked here, and we answered them all, and we stayed until they were all answered. And as you can see here at the bottom, lots and lots of questions being asked by our students. Every single question here got answered live on the call. And you can see, you can see people here saying how useful this is to them. My two biggest mentors, said that person there. Thanks you guys for all you do. Super glad to be here. I've learned quite a bit from both of you. You know, as a student of Digital DJ Tips, you get access to all this free classroom training that you don't get anywhere else. So the reason I started talking about this is, you know, if you're asking questions here and you're liking this, you're thinking, I want more of this, buy any Digital DJ Tips course and you get access for life to this Student Hub group where you can be a member of the group and get all this help, including your questions answered by more than just in public me. And, you know, you get me, you get Ben, you get Scott, you get Steve, and you sometimes get our other tutors like James Hype and Layback Luke dropping in and so on. It's a really big part of how we teach, and I think we sometimes don't talk about it enough. So, if you love this kind of stuff and you want more of it, buy a course. You get free entry to that group. Right, we're into our last 5 minutes. I will pull as many questions out quickly as I can. Lou says, Phil, I know cables are best for connectivity, but how far away do you think we are from a totally wireless DJ system? I think we're a while away from that, but I think it will come. It does exist. There are wireless solutions for getting the signal from your DJ gear to your speakers already. So yes, I think it will come. Christopher is asking a question about connecting Tractor via the Denon MC4000 controller to Ecamm Live. And Christopher says, I asked Ecamm Live, but they could not help me. You need to use one of those audio aggregator apps that I spoke about earlier, like VB Cable. So go and get this app here, and this will solve all of your problems. It's called VB Cable. It's at vb-audio.com. Install this app. You get it for Windows or for Mac. And then you'll be able to see Tractor in your Ecamm Live software as an audio input. And that will solve the problem you're asking about there, Christopher. So let us know if it does. I'd love to know if that helps you. Nick says, hi, Phil. This is a question on Audacity. So Audacity is a free piece of software that if you haven't got Audacity, go and get it, everyone. It's a piece of software that lets you edit audio. Basically, you can import any audio and you can edit it. It could be your DJ mixes, it could be individual bits of audio, samples, or it could be tracks that you've got. It could be tracks you ripped from vinyl or CD. It lets you load them up and do stuff to them. Take the silence off the beginning and end, make them louder, edit them. And it's totally free. And it works on Windows, Mac, even Linux. So go and get it. Every DJ has got this on their hard drive who is serious about DJing, because it's just an insanely useful thing to have. So go get a copy. This is what is being talked about here by Nick. And Nick says, hi, Phil. In the mixtape course, when you amplify your tracks to 0 decibels, when you're ripping vinyl, should you still do it? So let me just talk a little bit about what we're talking about here. If you have a piece of audio, it might be that you can have that audio louder without distortion. And really, with any MP3 file, with any WAV file, with any piece of audio, you want it as loud as possible without it distorting, right? So that's what you should do with any bit of audio that you're editing. Make it as loud as possible without distorting. And there is stuff in audio apps like Audacity that will let you do that. The easiest control to use is one called Normalize. And as long as the piece of audio you've got is a well-produced, well-mastered piece of audio, like a rip of a record or something, when you normalize it, it will make the loudest bit of the recording as loud as possible without any distortion on that loud bit. And then it will increase the volume of everything else to a proportionate amount. So the actual dynamic range, which is the difference between the loud bits and the quiet bits, hasn't changed. It's just the whole track is as loud as possible without distorting. And that is what you want. And so in answer to your question, Nick, if you're correcting a piece of audio that you've ripped from, like, let's say, a CD, just hit normalize. Forget about everything else. Hit normalize, and it will be as loud as possible without distortion. In our mixtape course, we teach you a little bit more detail about that, because we teach you how to use the limiter to make it a little bit louder overall. So in other words, not only are you getting it as loud as possible, but you're getting the quiet bits a bit louder as well. So effectively, you're compressing the dynamic range to make the whole track a bit louder. And the reason we teach you to do that is it makes your mixtape sound a lot better on car stereos, on headphones, anywhere where you're not listening to it in a, in a pristine, quiet environment on the best speakers in the world. It'll make it sound louder, and more importantly, it'll make it sound as loud as everyone else's mixtapes, because all the pros do this as well. So there's a couple of things there, Nick, but basically if you're ripping CDs, for instance, I would just normalize it and be done with it personally. Look, people, we are done here today. I haven't got any time to answer any more of your questions. Thank you very much to everyone for being part of this. If you've enjoyed it, please hit like, hit follow if you want more of this stuff, and notifications so we can inform you when we go live. You can watch the recording of this on YouTube and also on Facebook. If you're over on Mixcloud, I do apologize for not getting to your questions today. We do struggle with Mixcloud because it doesn't come into our system. So in fact, I'll answer 2 of them now, just to show that I'm not totally ignoring you guys and girls over there. Mick Ski says, what is the best record pool for house music? I would say Zip DJ. Zip DJ is my favorite one for house music. So I hope that helps you. It's lovely to see you're all helping each other out over there on Mixcloud, so you don't really need me. So that's good. But I will try and answer your questions a little bit more regularly over there. Magoo says, in a nutshell, Phil, you guys know your stuff. You're a trusted source with no BS. So thank you very much for that. So anyway, thank you for your time, everyone, today. It's been good having you here. I hope you've enjoyed the hour. Hope it's been useful to you. I'll be back next Thursday at the same time. Oh, and by the way, thank you to Ben for sitting in for me last week. It's hard to do these broadcasts live. Ben, our community manager, sat in while I was on holiday. I think you did a very, very good job, Ben. So thank you very much for doing that. As I say, I'll be back next week at the same time. Look at your watch now. What time does it say on your watch now? Come back on Sunday at that time on all platforms apart from Facebook. We're on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixcloud Live on Sunday. That's when you can catch my partner in the business, Steve Canuetto, playing an hour of live music on our DJ live stream slot. I'm doing the same thing 2 weeks on a week on Sunday. So come and join me for that. Join me at 5 p.m. Central European time, 4 p.m. London, and 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday next week for another one of these, and on Tuesday next week for Tuesday Tips Live, when we'll be talking about some burning topic in the DJ world. Meanwhile, all that's left for me to say is get good, get out there, make the moments, and have fun, guys and girls. See you again next time. Bye-bye.